If you've experienced something unbelievably weird and unexplainable that left you feeling isolated and afraid, the Paranormal PTSD Recovery Podcast is for you. Each week, we go from haunting to healing by focusing on one of our three core focal points: personal stories, healing tips, and understanding the unknown. We help you to know that you're not crazy, you're not alone, and you can heal. Now here's your hostess, Laura Giles. There is a viral video circulating right now that shows a woman at the Fort Lauderdale airport viciously berating a man. She's screaming so that everyone can hear. She's calling him names and saying that she hates him. And it's really hard to watch. And this is why I'm here on the Paranormal PTSD Recovery Podcast talking about PTSD. Hi, I'm Laura Giles, the host of Paranormal PTSD Recovery. Thanks for being here and listening to the podcast. It's really important for everyone to know that this is what your brain on trauma looks like. In this video, both people are both stressed. They're afraid of missing their flight. She copes by going into fight. He's her safest target, so she takes her stress out on him. Meanwhile, he goes into freeze and is trying to be as small and invisible as possible so that she will leave him alone. Later, she'll apologize and love bomb him. His fear of abandonment will be relieved. He'll think about all the things, the good things from the past, and will yearn for a return to those times, and he'll flop over and forgive her. That's trauma bonding. Feels like love, feels like nobody knows you like your person, but it's not love. It's a repeat of the pattern of abuse that was probably learned in childhood. And this cycle of trauma developed because we're programmed to stay alive. Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn often work in the short term to keep us alive if it's truly a life-threatening situation, but this is not an effective place to live, and people with PTSD from any source live there. So let me first talk about what happens to your brain on trauma. The first thing that happens is often a memory is triggered. The person experiences something that reminds them of something in the past that was overwhelming. It could be a sound, like a song or a dog barking, a smell, like cigarettes or a cologne, a taste like beer, something that they see, like the sunrise or a man with red curly hair, or a touch like the feel of fur or crunchy plastic. It can be so subtle that it doesn't even register consciously. This is why anniversaries of events can be stressful times. If something traumatic happened during a carnival, I might be really stressed out by the smell of cotton candy, the song that was playing on the midway when it happened, or even just the time of year. If the light looks the same, the air smells the same, that could be enough to put me on edge, and I don't even know why. So something triggers the brain to go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I do that. I go into survival mode and I'm on autopilot. I don't choose to go all Rambo on somebody and get in their face or to shut down like a big little mouse. It happens too fast for choice. It's a reflex. But what is also happening is that my prefrontal cortex is shrinking. This is where my rational thinking comes from. So I have a lot less capacity to think logically. I'm like an animal right now. And the chance for me making a mistake, using too much force, or completely shutting down is not really in my control. The more hyperactive my amygdala is, the more symptoms of PTSD I'll have. So I might be stuttering, my memory is spotty, I'm emotionally out of control, I'm negative and hopeless. Maybe I'm having a hard time breathing. I could be raging, or I might be numb. And since my hippocampus can't tell the difference between the past and the present, it is impairing my memory and my ability to make sense of the trauma. So I'm not particularly logical right now. So how well do you think I'm going to navigate through this situation? Not really well, right? This is a normal and natural response. What should happen after the danger has passed is that the system resets and everything goes back to normal. Our brain goes into rest and digest and processes the event and puts it in the done pile. Only with PTSD, that doesn't happen. Our stress hormones stay on high alert. We may be very reactive. We might have a hard time learning from experience and doing the same brilliant things over and over again. like breaking up with one abusive partner and getting with the next one, or doing the same behaviors that got me fired from a job. Fear can become our go-to response, and it just gets harder and harder to override the triggers. The longer this goes on and the more stressful events that happen, the smaller our window of tolerance becomes. This means that we're not resilient. So we have no space to bounce back and be flexible. If you look at me wrong, I might snap. It's that kind of thing. Now, everybody is responsible for their behavior 100% of the time, no matter what. And the woman who was yelling at her partner at the airport story just had little chance of reining it in once she got it on a roll. That train has no brakes, so it's much better to catch it before it leaves the station than to go on that joyride because it has no joy in it for anybody. That's the perfect example of what I mean. But it has been a crazy couple of days here in the USA for PTSD. I know you all saw the attempted assassination on Trump, right? Wow, was that crazy? So this is not a political show, and I don't care what side of the political aisle that you're on. I have no desire to influence you in that realm whatsoever, because we all have a shared interest in not going into this election cycle full of PTSD rage. It's not wise. So I'm hearing that there are people who think that Trump was targeted because, like Kennedy, he was planning to tell the American people about UAPs, aliens, the whole conspiracy. I don't know. People are saying that this is what kicks off the Second American Civil War. That has me a little concerned. Obviously, it's a big deal when a presidential candidate has an assassination attempt. The future of the country is a big deal. And if you lose your family and friends over it because you can't have a respectful exchange of ideas, it's probably a trauma response. I got caught up in that during one election cycle, and that's when I got off social media. It was just too stressful. It was making me into a person I didn't want to be, and that's why I'm here talking about this now. So we can all come to terms with our issues and not go down that road. Our relationships are too precious. Our country is too precious. And it doesn't make sense anyway because we're one. What we do to anyone else, we do to ourselves. So it pays to heal our wounds and get a handle on our triggers. Now, a trigger is anything that generates a bigger emotional response than is objectively called for. And when one person is in fight and the other person is in fight, we fight. There's no other option. To put it another way, if it's hysterical, it's historical. We don't go from 0 to 60 from one event. We do that because we remember what it was like the last time, and we're anticipating that same struggle. And once triggered, the pride, fear, and distrust is too high for us to consider any other way out. And now is the time to cool our jets, get a handle on the fear, the trauma, and heal. We can't be effective moving forward if we are in reaction mode. When we're in fight, we might pick the wrong person to fight at the wrong time. We might get in too deep and can't get out. It's not healthy to be a total pacifist either. War energy is healthy energy. We all need to stand up sometimes, but when we need a calm mind to know when to fight, how to fight, and when to stop. A triggered mind does not have that objectivity. Fawn is another one to watch out for. So fawning is basically Stockholm syndrome. It's when you play nice with your abusers so that they'll not harm you. Maybe you act like their accomplice, like when the Jews were jailers in concentration camps. Nobody wants to have that legacy, but if you feel threatened, that could be you. It could be me. It's hard to know what you do until you're in a situation, and mindfulness, compassion, and being present can help you from getting caught up in other people's trauma energy and swept up with whatever emotions out there. I don't know what's coming, but there are a lot of people with paranormal experiences. Many of them are absolutely terrifying. At the very least, humanity faces uncertainty, and that can be destabilizing. If this is a threat to humanity, we've got to stand together and meet what comes with wisdom. Coming from a place of trauma won't work out too well for us. If you look at the history of any civilization, it's all about strife. This kingdom fights that kingdom. This God takes one side and that God takes another. From the smallest tribe to the largest civilization, it's been about fighting, conquering, and destroying. And I'd like to see us level up and meet what's coming with love, because that's the strongest force of all, and one that doesn't resort to annihilation. But whatever your thoughts on the topic are, we have a better chance at moving through it in a healthy way if we're not engaging in a trauma response as we make decisions. So, what's the first step to healing our paranormal PTSD or PTSD from any source? It's getting to a place of safety and stabilization. You can't heal when you're under threat. That's physical or emotional danger. So if you're homeless, you're constantly vulnerable to attack of some sort, and so there's no safety there. If you're regularly abducted and have no power to stop it, you're not physically or emotionally safe either. If you live with someone who you have to walk on eggshells around because you never know if they're going to erupt, you're not safe. What does a safe situation look like? Well, you have to have a secure place to live and sleep where you won't be molested. You have a source of income that pays for your necessities. Your relationships are not abusive. Hopefully, they're supportive, loving, warm, and reciprocal, healthy. And both sides practice healthy boundaries. You are part of that safety as well. So you're not self-harming by using drugs, alcohol, or engaging in risky behaviors. You're not allowing others to abuse you either. You have emotional safety. You can calm yourself if you get emotionally aroused. You can regulate impulses so that you're not ruled by your emotions. When things go wrong, you can deal with them without escalating them or bringing other people into it or sulking for days or taking a long time to recover. Another thing that will help with emotional safety is to get off social media and the internet in general if watching news is anxiety provoking. Most of what is out there is sensational and not true. The news is a business that sells advertising. It's about making money, and dirty laundry and sensationalism sells. You don't have to be an audience for that. You can choose. There are a lot of spiritual people in the paranormal PTSD community. I think it goes along with the territory, either because they've had spiritual experiences along with the paranormal experiences, or maybe paranormal and spiritual are related in some way. So I think a lot of people think that there's a spiritual solution to alien abduction or frightening experiences with cryptids. Maybe so. And what I see in my holistic trauma work is that if your baseline isn't stable, you're not going to be able to sustain a spiritual practice either. Things go sideways eventually. And I tell people to think of it like this. If our life can be captured by the image of a pyramid, that big fat base of the pyramid is all the things that create safety. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's having a safe place to live, healthy food, clean water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. Very basic stuff. Spirituality is a cherry on top. It's the top of the pyramid. It's very important too, but if we don't have that strong foundation, whatever is built upon it will be shaky and crumble eventually. It just won't stand. Try turning a pyramid upside down and balancing on the tip, and you see what I mean. Nature has an order of operations, and when trauma is in play, we're starting from the remedial class. Getting to stability is basic, and it can't be skipped. If you had a dysfunctional childhood or were abducted since childhood, that might be where you are, but you can't get to where you're going until you acknowledge where you are. Maybe that's not sexy, but it's true. The human design is both ingenious and life-affirming, and it's also damaging. The fight or flight mechanism that keeps us alive also keeps us playing small. It keeps us in a space of fear. And every time we fear for our physical or emotional safety, we go back into that scaredy cat space and act like, childish and animalistic ways. Well, I'm telling you this to illuminate the pattern so you can break out. We're all so much more than this. We have the divine spark of life inside, and if we allow fear to control us, that light will never shine. We're in crisis. We have a crisis of clean food, clean water, clean air, and clean medicine. We're threatened by mystical beings that we can't see or control. Perhaps these beings can wipe our memories, implant suggestions in our heads to make us do things like meet them in the dark, in secluded places, or even worse. I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is, doesn't look great. Dark times call for courage and strength, and each of us is being called upon to remember who we are. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's enough. There's a story by Xuanzi that says, If a man is crossing a river and an empty boat collides with his own skiff, even though he be a bad-tempered man, he will not become very angry. But if he sees a man in the boat, he will shout at him to steer clear. If the shout's not heard, he will shout again and yet again and begin cursing, and all because there's somebody in the boat. Yet if the boat were empty, he would not be shouting and not be angry. If you can empty your own boat, crossing the river of the world, no one will oppose you. No one will seek to harm you. What Schwanza is saying is that other kids who teased you as a child, the road rager who flipped you off yesterday, are all in fact empty, rudderless boats. They were compulsively driven to act as they did by their own unexamined wounds. They were at the mercy of their impulses and had little control over it. If you're carrying trauma, you're a rudderless boat too. If you want to have choices and feel alive, heal the trauma. Get in touch with your light and realize that none of what happens outside of us really matters. When you have that peace, you shine peace into the world. I think that's enough. We're all vibrational beings. Our energy impacts the whole. And once you have that, you radiate it. And energy is infectious. We all have potential within us. And when we feel it, we can feel it or create it again as long as fear doesn't shut that down. So I'm going to share how easy it is to let go of all the crap that booby trapped us into playing small. So here's a demo that I did. And if I can help you release some of your paranormal PTSD triggers or any triggers at all, let me know. Hey, Greg, thanks for being here with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Your target?
I do.
You do. Okay, cool. And 0 to 10, how not settled are you with this thing?
I would say 5 to 6.
Okay, cool. When you think about that thing, what sensations do you notice in your body?
There is a kind of like a shimmering down my arms and in my chest a little bit.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay. Does that
and
shimmer
then
have a color?
followed by a little bit of a tightness,
Okay. Where's the tightness?
the back of my chest, like towards my back.
Okay. And do those sensations have a color?
Yeah, it's like pinkish purple.
Awesome. Is it moving or still?
It's moving.
Okay. And does it have a texture?
Yes, the texture is a bit like crackling electricity.
Awesome. Awesome.
And it's kind of slamming up against a wall a little bit of that feeling.
Cool. Um, so what I'd like for you to do is go back to the first time or an early time when you felt that sensation. Let me know when you're there.
Okay.
Okay. And what are you saying to yourself?
Why can't I just do it? What's wrong with me?
Awesome. Okay. Is the picture bigger, smaller, or different?
Smaller for sure.
0 to 10, where is it now?
4.
Is it bigger, smaller, or different?
Different and a bit smaller.
Okay. And what's the intensity now?
3.
Is it bigger, smaller, or different?
Smaller.
What's the intensity now?
I would say about a 1.
And how's it now?
Yeah, it's kind of dissolved.
Okay. Everybody has had something crazy happen in their past. A lot of people tell me that they've dealt with it and it's in the past. However, when I ask the body, that's not what the body says. Just because you don't cry over something or even think about it doesn't mean it's gone. If it's in there, even if it's buried deep, it's going to impact the way you think and feel. It's much better to neutralize it. What's done is done. We can't erase it, but we can remove the emotional charge from anything. When your experiences are all empty boats, you'll have more peace in your life. Guys, we're at a pivotal point in history. Let's move forward together on the side of love and peace so that the post-disclosure world we create is better than the one we came in with, okay? I'm counting on you to do your part. If you want some company and support, join my free community where we talk about these things all the time, share ideas, and support each other. See you next week. Ciao.